I want to switch it up a second.
Long-standing.
I want to switch it up a second. I want to check out the video. Is that okay with you guys? Because I saw this in my recommended, and I want to have a little look. This is from Void Enigma. What happened to Wuthering Waves' intimacy system? It's non-existent. That's what it feels like. Anyway, all right, let's have a look at the video.
It is a long-standing notion that the bonds and relationships you share with your pixels are important.
To be fair, most intimacy systems in most games kind of like don't really matter that much.
Many games have a rising meter, or more so, a way to get closer to your characters in-game, whether it's by raising them or using them in a party for about, say, 3 months. There exists a very distinct feature of relationship building in many gacha games. Genshin has the classic friendship system, as well as the leveling system to learn more about the lore of the character. Arknights has the trust system, and even while games like Limbus Company do not have a system that incorporates bonds, they still give you rewards by raising your characters.
I've still got to check out Limbus Company. Yeah, I think getting actual tangential rewards in some form or another, whether it's specific to the character or account, is one of the better ways to do it. Not just like maybe opening up voice lines or things like that. Those are cool, but like, you know, actually some reason beyond that to actually make it worth spending a bit of time to do those mechanics, however they're applied to whatever game it is.
Normally, the thing you get from raising bonds is cosmetic items, perhaps a name card or a title. Other times, they take it a step further and they let
bro, trying to get man's demonetized here with the brain does shit, bro. Come on.
You unlock stat gains or special power-ups for raising those bonds. It's definitely something that completionists strive for. You have it in your mind that when you get this character, you're going to be going on a journey to fully max out that character. This might be your main, or this might just be your favorite.
Like, it'd be a cool way, wouldn't it, as well? I suppose people wouldn't like it, though, that, like, you know, maybe you got little, like, mini quests unlocked, you know, at the end of gaining trust with an agent, operator, resonator, whatever you want to call it. You know, so there's actually something that, you know, like an end goal from it, rather than just like, oh, here's a couple of little bits and pieces that don't really matter. Here's some mats or whatever. But actually something that, like, oh, it feels like you've learned more about the character now, and you get a little bit more of a canonical experience of, like, actually you've bonded with a character kind of thing now.
For character in general. To really appreciate every part of them, you need to dissect and unlock everything that the character has to offer. Many games have a built-in system that rewards the players for their time and dedication. Arknights, Genshin,
this is such a banger character trailer.
The list goes on. But what if I told you that Wuthering Waves has this system too, except it's completely untapped? My name is Void Enigma, and I'll be discussing the inclusion, or more so the lack thereof, of the intimacy system.
It really is.
Wuthering Waves, and whether it's a good thing to have this system as bare bones as it is.
I suppose it's like one of those things where, like, I'm like, there's multiple arguments you can make. You can, like, it's there. It's a little extra thing to do to get some little extra bits and pieces. If it was too much, you'd have people moan that it's just another thing potentially to grind for, especially if it gets you some rewards, whether that's material or content. So there will be those people that say, like, yeah, I don't need anything extra. I think I like the idea of potentially having, like, again, a mini quest at the end of it, where you get to, like, you do a light-hearted little quest with the character with some a little cutscene, and you know, you get a little bit of bonding, because with a lot of the characters in the game as well, outside the companion quests, they're non-existent, so you really don't get that sort of connection with the characters either, do you? And I think that'd be a good way to add that to the game, personally.
Or
Zelnish does do it right, yeah.
A lot more to offer. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into the topic. Wuwa has a distinct intimacy system, and
Who gives us 5 asteroid for using a character out 100 times? That counts as intimacy.
You get that intimacy by clearing your daily quest and using wave plates with that character on your team. The intimacy system can be found through this special menu, and it goes up to level 5. In that system, or this area here, you'll see stuff like...
You know, it matters so little in WoW. I don't even pay attention to it at all. At all.
Their backstory, their most treasured items, there's just a lot going on here, especially their voice lines and stuff like that. Getting this to level 5, though, doesn't really unlock anything new. Of course, it does unlock all of their story and lore about the character in-game, but you don't get a name card, like in Genshin, you don't get special power-ups, like in Arknights, and you damn sure don't get any rewards for raising your character's level on the offside of it. A good thing about this, for casual players anyways,
Yeah, I'd rather it not be an asteroid-based reward or tides. I would rather, like, you know, a cosmetic would be nice. A potential extra buff for a character that you're using all the time would be kind of cool, whether it's passive or, you know, a low-powered active kind of thing, addition to the character. It's like almost an extra way of, you know, building your character in a sense, isn't it? Again, like, you know, a little story addition or just something that feels like it gives you a reason and two, a connection as well with the character. At the end of the day, these games are all about, you know, that, aren't they? Getting a bit parasocial with your characters in your game, which I know it's a problem, but we all do it to a degree. And what not better way to do it by giving you little things to apply to your character. Man, like, what even if, like, because the weapon skin seems to have vanished in Wuthering Waves. They did those ones that we could get for free, that we could unlock when they initially come out. Maybe, like, a weapon skin or something? You know? I don't know. Maybe even if it's only for 4-star, like, I don't know, something like that. Something cosmetic for the character, potentially, maybe.
is that you don't have to raise every character that you accidentally get. You aren't pressured into raising them to get the little rewards like extra wishes or extra pulls or something like that. And you're not sabotaging yourself by not raising.
Giving gacha currency reward will just make it a yeah, like, I feel like you don't, because, like, I feel like when there's just a currency reward at the end of something, I feel like that's all there is to it. Is like, I want the currency. I don't care. I don't need to enjoy it. I feel like we should have more games that are concentrated on more giving you fun things. Either the journey's enjoyable or the destination gives you something that actually is fun or benefits you, rather than just like, here's a couple of asteroids towards a pull, or here's a pull there, or here or there. Like, you know, which it's always good to get free currency, of course, when you're free to play or you don't want to spend. I get it. And if somebody even lightly spends, it's always nice to get free stuff. But I agree. I think doing something else would be better. Yeah, I do like the gift-giving system in Enfield as well.
Them. But on the other side of things, the only thing that you get for raising your character's intimacy is maybe more lore on Camellia, which in itself is a valuable thing. It offers a deeper look into the catastrophic tragedy that some of these characters possess in their backstory. On the bad side of things, it's a gacha game, and we all want free rewards for doing what we're already doing, right?
Yeah, I don't want that. I know I'm probably in the minority there, and I know some of you guys are saying the same as well. I think most people would be like, yo, give me free asteroids. I get it. I understand that. But, yeah. And as well, sometimes can we get beyond just having a wall of text there? Give me some V8, or give me something a little bit sexier, you know, something that's a little bit more pleasing. Something that's like, okay, I spent a bunch of time doing this. All right, I've got a wall of text to read now. Okay, that's cool. Have that there. Give me something extra, man.
Lead examples of this is, of course, as I've already mentioned, Genshin Impact and Star Rail, who give the players 3 standard wishes when they raise their character's level, up to Ascension 1, Ascension 3, and Ascension 5 for each character. Limbus Company gives the players 40 lunacy when they uptie their characters to uptie 3. Wuthering doesn't have that option. Now, to offset that, remember that WuWa does give the players about 5 standard wishes per patch through the login event, and then they also have the events to give you even more wishes, or tides, and on
See, like, I think this conversation for me as well, and I'm not, you know, I'm more talking about the game here. You know, when it comes down to, like, it's that new weekly mode that was added to Wuthering Waves. Now, it's a little bit better than when it first was added, you know, the Summit 1,000 gateways or something like this. And at first, when it first came out, I said that I thought it was turbo ass, basically. And people were like, bro, man, it's just extra content and it gives you a pull. And I replied to someone and I was like, you know what? I'd rather than a free pull, a mode that's enjoyable, you know? Like, sometimes the journey's more important than the destination for me. And at one pull, 4 pulls over a month isn't really going to change your account. But you know what would change my account over that month? 4 pieces of really enjoyable and engaging content. Something that gives me a bit of fun, you know? When did we stop playing games for fun and get to playing games to be like, woo! You know, I got a little shiny thing. Sweet. I can add that to the other collection of shiny things. And if I get enough, I'll be able to gamble, you know? And hey, don't get me wrong. The gambler's fun. I do enjoy it sometimes, you know? Although sometimes not so much because I get shafted. But, yeah, man, everything doesn't have to resort to currency, because I think sometimes when currency becomes the gift for the content can become lazy because in their head, people are just like, sweet, I'll get a couple of pulls out of this. So they allow the content to be substandard. Whereas if they got something else from it, they'd probably expect a little bit more out of the content. And guess what? They might have a bit more fun while they're doing it as well.
For that, you get tithes for each new area that you actually completely explore. So at the end of the day, it is equally distributed, but still, I'd like something from maxing my characters or getting them to max intimacy. Wuthering Waves has a very underutilized sigil system as well.
Yeah.
They really should expand upon their sigil system because there's so much untapped potential here. Additionally,
this stuff should really affect, like, you know, you should be able to have it kind of like how in a Zenless, you know, how you can have like your backgrounds for when you're in the menu. Like, they need this because these sigils, like, to show, like, you know, when you got like player cards in gacha games, so like when other people look at your name, they can see, like, it's not Call of Duty, it's not Valorant, I don't care about that. But I would like cool different backgrounds when I'm in the menu, you know, when I escape out or I'm looking through the different, I do really, don't get me wrong, Zenless's UI sucks balls, but I do like how you can have different backgrounds. That's kind of nice. I'd like something like that in Wither as well when I'm like moving through the menu, so it just looks a little bit pretty, beautify it for me, you know what I mean?
they can expand upon the avatars as well to include more alluring versions of the character. And what about titles? There's so much room for improvement. You may have listened to all of my points and have one glaring question that comes to mind. Why should I care about this? It's just silly cosmetics in game, right? Well, cosmetic and titles are not just fluff. They give the players a sense of identity and accomplishment. Imagine
See, like this bit here that you've got, the showcase in Wither, they should have something like this for when you're in the menu. You know, now don't get me wrong, Wither's UI is kind of clean, but like when I go into the menu, it would kind of be nice if I had like a character in the background. Even if it was just like a, you know, not like a moving image. It doesn't need to be moving. It could just be a static JPEG. Something like that, or even like something that just gives a little bit of an embellishment to the UI, maybe. I don't know.
Checking your friend's profile and seeing a Chun-Li sigil, you immediately know that they know how to play her thoroughly. Also, you have a way of immediately flexing that you have unlocked this special title that's...
How often are you worrying about looking at those showcases? You know, you just slap your characters on and you never think about it again, do you? They just throw away bits of parts of the game, in my opinion. They really don't need to be there. It's cool that they are, but they're literally mean jack, don't they?
Really hard to get. It's not just about looking cool, it's about showcasing achievements, and if cosmetics don't matter to you, well, you can completely ignore it.
How about unlocking special art loading screens? Yes, yeah, perfect. Yeah, agree with that, Purple Onyx. Yeah, definitely. I like it when games do that, allow you to have loading screens, customized loading screens and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. Limits is a system where if you level the character enough, the loading screens will use art of those characters. Yeah. Customized loading screens are always fun.
But who doesn't want extra rewards for simply playing the game? Well, let's be real. For many people, and by many I mean a very few, getting characters aren't really the issue. They can purchase characters at any time, but what about something that players can get by playing the game? Badge of honors per se, showing how much dedication that you have for this particular character. Like, those rewards don't exist in game yet, but...
like cosmetics for your characters, skins for weapons, maybe. I think they could have like 4-star skin weapon skins in there for like some of the trust stuff, maybe. I've been saying this for ages. God knows why they haven't added like 4-star weapon skins to the battle pass. I haven't bought the battle pass the last 2 times because I've just got bored of buying the battle pass on Wither, because other than the asteroids and stuff like, and the tides, yeah, you know, it's kind of a bland battle pass, really. Like, I want something kind of sexy at the end of my battle pass to strive towards, I do.
Best believe that every character on my account has max intimacy. Not because I particularly care about the character, but because it's just something to do.
Golden sword, golden gun. Give me dark matte camos, bro.
Gacha games are notorious for having dry patches. Like, right
Where's
now,
my red
I still
tiger?
have a ton of things to do in Wuwa, but the echo grind for Brant has just completely dried me out, and I have no motivation to actually do anything. Still fishing.
Yo, the echo grinding generally in Wuthering Waves has dried me out because I think it's one of the most unfun ways to gear up in a gacha game, in my opinion. I just don't find it fun at all. And I don't even necessarily, like, the substat situations are pain in the arse, but like, it's just a chore, man. It really feels like a chore that I think it needs to be streamlined, personally. I did make a video actually talking about a juiced up housing system that's not really a housing system. It's more like a dark dark cloud mode with dungeons and a new additional supplemental way to build echoes would really streamline that system. You should check that out if you want to.
For one final 3-cost piece to finish his set, just for the completionist side of me, but every game has its boring moments.
It's really not in WoW. In a lot of games, it's not, but it's...
But having something to work towards will give you
the Lunite pass is all you need, really.
Like, hey, I gotta max out the intimacy on Brant to unlock X, or hey, I gotta spend my wave plays leveling weaker characters to unlock Y. It's the natural thing in most games. These are all of the things that you can completely ignore, but choices. The important thing is, you have choices. Every game needs a way to engage the largest audience possible.
I farm every day and always maxing Echo Bag, but man, tuner is so ass. 20. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, I think this is why it's such a chore, because like, you've not only got to go farm them, which sometimes can just be a pain. Obviously, I know you can do tacit fields and stuff like that, and you know what I mean. There's multiple ways to farm, but then you've got the layers. You go out and get them. Then you've got your EXP, then you've got your tuners, and then you've just got shafted by the luck of the RNG constantly. And then not to mention main stats never matching the Sonata set, especially in Renacita. It really does, man. I've got to the point in where recently when I'm like, dude, I don't even want to build my character, man, because I know I'm just going to have an annoying, frustrating time doing it.
Possible for the genre, and it's
one thing. I'm having a lot more fun building characters at the minute in Zenless Zone Zero.
The moment you unlock Chun-Li's special sigil, or the moment you unlock Chun-Li's elusive gaze, she stares into your soul from the profile icon. There is hope, though. Most games don't release a system to actually gain rewards from the bonds or intimacy on day one. Often, they release this way later down the line. Genshin Impact had this from the start, but their leveling system to unlock fates was added later. And then you have the addition of stat increases. Arc Knight gives stat bonuses when you raise their trust. The same can be said for Nikke.
I think that's a decent little system as well. You know, if I'm using a character all the time to the point where I've built up trust, why not just give me a little buff? You know? And I know why, because they want all that sort of stuff to go into dupes, because they want you to be getting dupes. You know, just give me, even if it's a little paltry little buff here, you know, little attack buff, a little crit buff, you know, just something, just a little something, just something that, like, you know, it's not really game changing. It's like, hey, you know, that benefited my account, I guess, a little bit.
Nikke and Brown does too. When you raise your character's bonds and trust, you get a little bit stronger.
I need to get back on Brown Does too. I did start it on mobile, and I really want to start the game again. But somebody said there's some settings you can do to stop me getting nuked. Because I'm worried about streaming Brown Does too, because the game's, you know, hence AK Dupes is insignificant. Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
I wouldn't mind small stat boosts to raising my character's bonds, nor would I mind the extra rewards for raising my characters through their ascension. It just makes me wonder why Kuro Games drew the line here. We will only make intimacy about the lore, and that is it. Now, with that...
It's right, though, isn't it? It's right. Why he's like... I just, for me, the reward of getting more intimate with, and I suppose it canonically makes sense because you get to know somebody more, you learn more about their personal lore, I guess, but I just think it's a dry way to give lore. Lore should just be something that's accessible all the time, and then obviously story lore is accessible as you go further into the game. If you're going to give me if it's going to be a lore thing, as I said, give me a little mini quest at the end of it that, like, you know, makes that apparent. Now, I know it'll be a lot of extra work. It doesn't have to be a major quest. I'm talking like something that can be done in a few minutes, but it's just like, that was cool. That was worthy. Sometimes it makes me think it's because we're like Guna. Still reading chat. Sometimes it makes me think because Genshin didn't go beyond their little thing that they did. So Wuthering Waves are like, well, we don't need to expand on that. You know, sometimes it does feel like that with the Wuthering Waves. They just look at what Genshin does and they go, we'll do that a little bit better. And when I say a little bit better, I mean a little bit in some elements. You know, this is where there should be doing things differently and expanding on things, man. Like, you know, when you in a gacha game with how important characters are, a character that you use regularly, you should get a little something from that, shouldn't you? Even if it's only very minuscule, there should be some sort of benefit to it.
That being said, go check out the lore for some of these characters. A lot of them are dark, and they will surprise you. Like, check out Dungeons, Prey, or...
Yeah. Do you know what we won't do? We won't put that in the game, though. We won't put it in the game. We'll give you all these tidbits. Look at these really cool stuff that we're never going to show you.
or the hunter in her backstory. It is brutal. What somewhat bothers me is that
Pains
Kuro
me.
Games
It
already
pains
has
me,
the
that
perfect
does.
blueprint for this kind of system. They've done it before in Punishing Grey Raven. That game has an affection system where at higher levels, characters will unlock more voice lines, adding a deeper personal touch. For example, I don't play PGR regularly anymore, but I still log in at least once a month so that the goddess 2B doesn't get too lonely, and I'm greeted with this. Ah, spectacular. Nice to see
PGR
you
is
again,
goated,
Team
though.
2B. That said, PGR's affection system doesn't give you physical rewards either, so maybe Kuro Games is just following suit, but still, it shows they understand the importance of a bond-building mechanic in these gacha games. Considering almost every other gacha game rewards players for leveling bonds, I think Wuthering Waves should eventually follow suit. Whether it's
It's not gonna.
cosmetics, currency, or stat boosts, giving players something to work towards would always be.
I don't like to usually say these because I think Kuro are always willing to work on things. Now, I hope the ecosystem gets tweaked. I don't know if it ever will. This, I don't think will ever be worked upon. Because one, I don't think enough people even care about it. One, most people probably never even thought about it to even care about it. So I don't ever think this will happen. And it's not a game-breaking thing if it doesn't. Of course, it's not. It's not a major problem. But it is a thing that I think could be improved, definitely. It could be made to be better.
Be a win for everyone. What do you all think though? Should Kuro Games add more rewards to the current intimacy system?
Yes.
Drop a comment below and make sure to fill out that survey.
I think it'd be actually really kind of interesting. Give me a character buff. Give me some, you know, even if it's a little tiny cutscene at the end of it. Give me something like that. You know, maybe even like give me some extra like voice lines in combat that you don't get otherwise. You know, stuff like that. If we do get a housing system in the game, maybe they could use that trust system for the housing system. Thinking about it now, that could be a way to incorporate it into the game in some area. You know, it could benefit the housing system to a degree. Now, maybe, like, if they use my idea, where I said it would be like Dark Cloud, I don't know if you guys have ever played that game, where literally, instead of just a housing system, you do these dungeon runs, and you collect the parts of a village that you have to go into, like, a light city sim kind of thing, and place down the plots and the people back in the houses, and there's little quest givers and such, and there's stores and places to passively farm materials from the town that having higher trust with different characters. When they're placed in particular parts around the town, they get buffs in regards to like a 10% buff on passively farming shell credits, or this character in this area allows you to gain more of material A or material B. I think that'd be kind of cool to have into the game, and it'd be a good way to add an extra element to well, to be a pseudo housing system. Well, it to be a housing system, but better in my opinion if they did that.
If you want this added into the game while it's still up. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe as we are trying to push to 10K subscribers.
Let's
Your
go, bro.
support means everything to me, and I cannot wait to see where we go next. This has been Void Enigma, and until next time, Enigma out.
High quality video there, that is. Dude definitely deserves more subscribers. Void does. He makes some quality content. I am not subscribed. I've watched so many Void videos and I'm not sub. Man, let me fix that. Yeah, it was a good video. I think it's a system that's incredibly overlooked in the game, isn't it? And I think it would help to get a little bit. These are the little systems that, you know, when you work on multiple little tiny systems in a game, they start to stack up. They're like quality of life updates in a sense, aren't they? Well, they are really. You know, one on its own, all right, no big deal. 10 together, all right, we're starting to change things now. We're starting to cook. So yeah, I think it could do with some work and it could be advanced. Do I? Probably not. Will most people care? Nah. But I still would like to see. But that was a great video. It was a great video. Guys, if you haven't checked out Void as well, go check him out.